Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to be here together with you all.
Perfect. Stage is yours. You can begin.
Okay, that's cool. So thanks. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Okay, so hello everyone again. It's a pleasure for us to be here at Laval. And we want to talk with you about how to develop an entertaining and effective VR fitness game, telling about our work with Hitmotion Reloaded. So who are we? I'm Antony Vitilo. I am the co-founder and CTO of New Technology Workers, and I'm mostly a developer and a consultant. I'm also a blogger, and I have a blog like the Ghost Tools, where I talk about everything about AR and VR because I love this technology.
I'm Massimiliano Ariani, and I am multimedia creative. I love the connection between art and technology. I am one of the co-founder of New Technology Worker, where I work as a UX designer and game designer. I'm also overview all the creative work of the studio.
So today we're going to talk about what is Hitmotion Reloaded, and especially what are the choices that we've done when developing it, and how we made it effective and fun. So how you can also do it as well. So Hitmotion started as a project between me and Max in 2016. It was a full body VR game. It was very pioneeristic because we started again with Kinects and all the full body. And in this game with Kinects and VR, you were able to see targets all around you, and you had to find them and touch them with all the parts of your body, the head, the legs, the hands, whatever. And the game was very simple, but it was already fun for the people that played it. And especially we could see people that sweat while playing it. They were really having like a fitness training while having fun with our game. We'd also made a nice trailer video at that time to showcase how the game was. So you could have whatever headset, even a wireless one, because the Kinects gave the full body tracking, and then you could punch objects with your parts of the body and have fun. So this was a very interesting project. The problem is that with Kinects, it was not for everyone, of course. So in 2019, it was interesting that I had the opportunity to collaborate with HTC for their launch of the Bifocus Plus headset. And they were looking for content. So we proposed to take Hitmotion that was so fun and so interesting to the Bifocus Plus. So a standalone 60 headset, something like the Oculus Quest. So we took all those mechanics and we adapted it to the new headset. So no more full body, but you could still move around your room and punch objects with just your hands and dodge attacks that will come towards you by crouching, for instance. The game was received very well, but of course the Bifocus Plus was mostly an enterprise headset. So some weeks ago, we finished the port into the Oculus Quest. So now it is on side quest and people can enjoy it with the same mechanics. Even here, we made a nice trailer that shows you how the game, again, keeps the same spirit. You can move around your place, you can punch objects and stay fit while having fun, basically. It seems very easy from the video, but actually the game is pretty hectic. And people playing it still sweat a lot while they're in front of us. So now I leave the word to Max, the game designer that will show you how he has designed this game and what are the choices that he has made.
Hi. Okay. My goal as a game designer for Hitmotion was to design a boxing training game that not only taught people how to play boxing, but could also be fun to play. This meant studying especially these 3 points: how to design to the targets to hit, how to give proper feedback to the user, how to give fun to the user in the whole process. Let's see all this in the detail. To make the game accessible also to people that are not used to boxing, we can take the main action that a professional boxer does in its training, and we also simplified them. When shows just punch, taps, jab, hook, uppercut. Analyzing the movement of the controllers and the head, the system is able to understand if the user is giving the proper punch direction and stretching the target and react properly. A big problem that the user can't feel any kind of haptic feedback when they hit the object he is punching. In Hitmotion Reloaded, we use all the means at our disposal to provide at least a session of phantom touch. There is visual feedback both on the enemy and the glove that shows that a hit has happened. There is audio feedback that tells the user if the hit has been successful or not. And there is also the vibration feedback of the controllers. That to this even, if the user can't feel the impact of the hand with the target, he can immediately understand the result of the punch. Now, let's talk about how do we designed the hand. They needed to find a shape that invited people to punch it. You have to remember that in virtual reality, your brain behaviors be in the real world. So, while a cube of steel would be okay the punch in a 2D mobile game, if you see in front of your invar, your brain would think it is dangerous and prevent you from punching it. We opted so for a singular shape for remains use of the pow that are used in training gyms, because so it is similar to something that people are already used to punch. Its shape is also easy to render even on the Quest. And here we can see the actual shape of the enemy in game, and also how it has evolved over time. You can see the target is a simple fighting object. It's present a soft surface and shape that invites the player to punch it. It also expresses what is the direction of the punch that it must release, not only thanks to its hemispheric shape, but also thanks to a directional arrow. As I have said before, the system analyzing how the user is punching the target, and it can classify the punch in 4 possible ways. Perfect. The punch had the right direction and force and was given in 0.9 seconds after the target has been activated, so the user has been very fast. The punch was correct, but not fast enough. Wrong direction. It was performed with the wrong hand or wrong direction. Weak. The punch was not strong enough. A clear writing in front of the user and audio-visual feedback will tell the user what has been the result of his punch. The purpose is to invite the user to be faster, reactive, and effective in his punching action. Boxing usually requires a combination of a series of punches. To implement it, we just show the user a preview of the next punch and we have to strike so that he can mentally prepare for the next action. Create a chain of the previous. It is possible to make the user perform a fast succession of punchings for a training that is more tiresome and effective. We created this humanoid robot, which we call Bob, that kindly welcomes to the user and teaches him how to properly punch the targets. It is much easier and faster to learn if you can emulate the physical movement of the character that you see in the 3D in VR than if you just see a video. In the future, Bob could also become a virtual being that becomes a friend of the player and follows him like a real trainer. Let's come to the last point of our presentation. How to make this training fun and engaging? We decided to use a gamification which is proven to increase engagement in various training activities. Every level gives the player from 1 to 3 stars, pushing the player to his limit to arrive at the maximum score. And if a level is not completed with at least 2 stars, the players can't go on to the next one. In the full version of the game, we also added achievement classifications, so the user can challenge his friends, rewards, and daily challenges. The idea is to make the user come back every day to challenge himself and the people he knows, so that he can stay fit while having fun. That is also our motto. To increase the engagement for the user that have already played all the levels. We also added modifiers to push the challenge even more. Is it possible to make the levels longer or to increase the required force to destroy the enemies, so that everyone can customize his overtraining depending on his needs? Hitmotion Reload is on side quest. You can play it to try yourself all the strategies that I have just told you. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks to Massimiliano too.
Yes.
Just a question, please. You have mentioned an haptic, the use of haptic. Do you have haptic feedback of all kick and punch?
Well, at the moment we have that the controller vibrates. So basically this is the only haptic feedback that we can give with the Oculus Quest hardware.
Yeah.
So we add the audio-visual feedback that Max has described, plus the vibration of the controller. We're also evaluating possible integrations, for instance, with Behaptics, that is a company which we have a good relationship, but at the moment we're focusing on the playing quests, so that the game is a broader market. And then we can also think about integration with haptic devices, of course.
Okay, like I think of Tesla Suite and something like that. It could be really, really fun.
Yeah, that will be amazing. You know, the Tesla Suite is a bit expensive, so
yeah.
Let's see if we'll be able to use it.
Okay, do you have any question in the room for Antony and Massimiliano? Okay, you are on the side quest for the moment. Do you plan to go to the, official stores of Oculus?
Well, that will be a dream for us, of course. Let's see. We decided to publish on site because of various reasons. The first one was to get the feedback from the users, because as a small studio, we want to. It's important to have a product market fit, so to see what people like of our game, what they don't like, and so design what will be the final game probably, and make the proposal to Oculus and see what they will answer. Of course, fingers crossed. If someone from Oculus is listening to this talk, we'll be happy to talk about it.
And could you talk about the economic model behind the game? Is a simple purchase? Is something other thing?
At the moment, it's free because we wanted, as I said, to have feedback, to have the biggest number of people to try it, and also to make people that are still in lockdown be able to stay fit without having to pay anything. In the future, when there will be the full version, we plan to have a fixed fee for sure. So that will be the first way of proposing the game. So like upfront cost to buy it. And then if it will be successful, we can think about what other competitors are doing. So customized training, DLCs, subscriptions, who knows. But we want to start for sure with a premium model, just that we think that we're giving great training to people. They can pay and play with it every day. Probably it's the best way to start.
Okay. And what is the importance of Bob, the assistant, the coach? You talk about for the moment a robot coach, I think, but it could be also a real coach.
Well, I think Bob per se, no, because it's a bit our mascot. It's our mascot. It's a character that has been since the first Hitmotion Reloaded, the Focus Plus, and we think it can become, if things will go very well, it can also become like a virtual being, a virtual friend, but still an NPC, something commanded by an AI or whatever. But it can be that if Hitmotion will be able to expand and become bigger, there will be real trainers that can meet you in a virtual world and teach you. That's something that, for instance, other players in the fitness market are exploring, and it's very interesting. But I think that Bob is Bob. He will remain just himself.
Okay. Thank you, Antony.